All You Can Lead is a channel about leadership and self-development topics.
Welcome back to my channel. Today we have a new guest, Winston. Winston is my favorite product manager in Silicon Valley.
Well, that's such a nice intro.
Yeah, I think so. Everybody I know would say the same thing if they know Winston.
Well, I've been very fortunate to have a chance to work with you. I think the benefit was all mine.
Oh, cool. All right, so short intro about Winston. So we worked together on the same team before, and now Winston has started his own company. He was born and raised in Canada, or?
Yep, born in Montreal, and then raised in Canada. Went to University of Waterloo, and then
As an engineer,
started at BlackBerry in manufacturing. So I was working with the robots and everything. I did that for 8 years, and then I left to start my own company. And I didn't really know what startup was. I had two other business partners. We built a mobile app shop before the recession, so just leaving the recession.
Mm-hmm.
And then we tried to pivot, and then I would end up leaving the company and taking a year off to recharge my batteries. And then I came down to interview at Google. And I chose product management specifically because I really wanted to better understand how to build a product. I think through startup, we were doing it, but I didn't really have any formal training. So I would join Google 5 years into it. Now off on my own journey again, back into startup.
Yeah, Winston, do you want to talk about your new startup called Whoosh?
Yeah, so Woosh, we are technically a air filter manufacturing company, but we're in the business of improving the indoor air quality. And
product demo, let's do it.
Yeah, one of our products, this pairs with an air quality monitor, but this is the air filter. So my journey somewhat started because of the wildfires in California. Air quality was quite poor, so I really didn't want to spend a lot of money. Most of the purifiers that were low cost had sold out. So I would end up making one from a filter, an HVAC. Looks an HVAC filter like this and a fan. I took a stab at, how they tell you, if you want to build a business, you either have to make it better, cheaper, or faster. Mm-hmm. And if you can do two of those things out of three, you can be very competitive. So I said, well, what if I can make it a better filter and I can send it to you for cheaper? So then I made it my first design was to make it like a Swiffer. So this works with a reusable frame. So this is a reusable frame. And this is the filter insert. So this is actually what catches the dirt and gets dirty. And what's cool about it is this folds up. And you remember we spoke to the manufacturer in Asia together. You helped me.
I was a translator.
She was, Elena was my translator and helped me develop this product with a manufacturer overseas. But the filter itself is fully foldable and it goes right into the frame and the frame closes up.
It fits perfectly.
And there's two latches and then voila, you have a fully built filter. And the coolest part, which I don't actually have it on this one.
Is it an IoT part?
It's an IoT part. There's a sensor module that installs back here. So the biggest question most people have is, when do I need to change my air filter? And this actually measures the pressure before and after, in addition to temperature and humidity. So it's tracking just like a wearable. I really didn't think this would be where I would spend a lot of time, but it was a kind of the intersection of a skill I had been developing for a long time that I really had deep passion for, and an opportunity that arose that I had no idea about, but would end up taking over all of my time and interests. And so for me, while we were at Google, I was getting very comfortable with the product management work, and I was looking for that new challenge. And the last catalyst, actually, I don't know if you remember this, but Kobe Bryant passed away.
That's right.
Obviously, it was very tragic for Kobe, the people in the helicopter, his daughter Gianna. But for me personally, my takeaway was life's short.
So what did you learn at Google that really prepared you to becoming the founder at Whoosh?
Oh man, and I can give you an experience that I was a previous founder, and at that time my background is more purely engineering, and I would leave to join Google as a product manager. And the thing I think I left with most is product management at Google, at least my view is, it's an amazing training ground where you learn a disciplined approach to manage a product. And I do think PMs at Google have a unique role where there's a very holistic ownership. It's not just like the project aspects, and it's not just, heavy on UX or this and that. It's very well balanced. You have to propose the idea and take it from inception all the way to delivery. Now, I gotta say, going back into startup, there's so much more like that I've learned beyond that. But the PM core skill set is so vital. The other stuff that surrounds it is critical, right? But the PM stuff holds it all together. I mean, I have to do my own accounting. I have to do my own patent stuff. And you don't sometimes get as much of that, in a
large company.
In a large company, there's just too many things. There is some focus, but the training overall really allows you to. I still write PRDs for myself, and I write PRDs for my engineers and everything. So I still use the exact same processes. I have I have my quarterly reports, which pretty much are the same.
I get those too.
I have my OKRs. I score my own OKRs, and it keeps us on track. And I use our advisory team just like we would use our steering committee. Go-to-market planning, we have our launch doc, we have experiment docs. I think PMing, the number one thing I took away is documentation and knowing how important a document can be to communicate your ideas to others. If you can do it in a very succinct and efficient way, you're just far more effective.
What I've found is at a large company, people are super qualified and you can learn a lot from them and from each other. And what we could have done is really not just this is some deliverable, I need it by what time. It's really like sitting down with them and really asking them questions about some of the assumptions that they use, how they built the models, to really learn that skills instead of just delegating fully. And I found that could be a great opportunity to really build a very well-rounded skill set.
Oh, 100%. Like with a large company, you have so many resources and expertise. It was just an absolute thrill to be there and at arm's length, you could get an expert. One thing I definitely say in startup, you don't have that, and it's very expensive. If there's one thing that anybody who's working in a big company before they start up, they should take away is maintain your relationships, because these people who you were talking to will still talk to you, right? As long as confidentially aside, you can talk in general about a lot of things that you need support with. So I used a lot of my network existing at Google to help me through a lot of questions I had for my new business.
I said earlier that Winston is my favorite product manager friend. So I always wanted to ask this question. Now we have the perfect time.
Yeah.
How did you build relationship so successfully? What was your secret sauce?
I don't know if there's a secret sauce. We were talking earlier, even with this video, like being genuine is probably always one of the kind of important things, because at the foundation, a lot of relationships come with trust. There are pros and cons. You have to invest a lot of your heart into these things, because if it's genuine, you genuinely have to care, and that means there's a lot of people you probably care about. But the world has interesting ways of coming back around. So I think I look at a lot of relationships as the most valuable thing I have in my life. And the more you're genuine and transparent about what you're trying to do, people always want to help you. I think another thing which is helpful always, and this may just go with different personality types, but I do think it's nice to be, always a bit of the optimist. It's not everybody. It just happens to be what I feel like, at least I am a lot of times, where I just try to really bring the happy energy to it, and that's what it takes a lot from me, right?
So you would invest proactively those optimistic energy into a relationship before the other person show any signs of willingness to invest. Right. That's how I felt when I first joined our team, where Winston spent hours and hours sitting down with me and trying to help me ramp up. And I was like, this person is so generous with his time. And I'm I don't know, I was very grateful at the time. So I was willing to invest a lot as well later in the relationship, but I wasn't the person that initiated. Winston was, right? So I always had this question of why do you want to invest before seeing any signs of having any return?
And that investment is I wanted to see you being successful, because I would not be successful unless you were. There's a part of it sometimes where maybe if you wonder why you're doing it, just remind yourself that, if you do good things or you want the best for somebody else, it'll eventually come back to you in one shape, form, or another. And you'll have no control over it.
Thank you all for watching this video. I'll see you